group of individuals who are concerned about the safety and health of the local community as a result of the approved build of the new medical waste facility in St. David's and storage of biohazardous waste. We are concerned that the collection, storage, and disposal of biowaste was outsourced to a private contractor without any proper regulation in place or oversight from the government. We are concerned that although an environmental impact assessment is required under the Bermuda Plan for waste disposal systems and major industrial and commercial developments, no impact assessment was done. This means that a cumulative impact of airborne toxins from various pollutants in this area is unknown. As a result, residences, businesses, and children playing sports and people who frequently use the area to exercise may be exposed to dangerous toxins and pollutants, potentially causing risk to their health. We are concerned that the consultation with local communities for constructions such as this, particularly where there's a potential impact on the environment and public health, is inadequate. Public consultation must be far more extensive. An ad in the paper is not enough. Lastly, we are concerned that the business model proposed by MediWaste is inefficient. We believe it will significantly increase the cost for medical, dental, and vet practices, which in turn will pass the cost back onto the consumer with higher charges and higher insurance premiums. And we are angry that it has been left to our community to point out these issues and the gaps in the legislation governing toxic waste after members of the public discovered illegally parked containers of unrefrigerated bio-waste on a public road. But thanks to our efforts, we have successfully lobbied for its removal to a safer location. We are also angry that the responses to our concerns have not been forthcoming. We have sent questions to the Minister of Health and the Minister of Home Affairs since last Tuesday, November 22nd, which have not yet been answered. We have invited the Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister of Health, and representatives from the BLDC, the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources, to meet with the members of the public at recent town halls, but none so far have been accepted. As a result of this complete failure to listen to the concerns of the community, the Concerned Citizen Group demands that the government steps in to immediately stop the construction of the incinerator so that an independent third-party environmental impact assessment can take place. We demand that the Premier, David Burt, intercede and insist that both ministers and the CEO of the BLDC meet with and address the concerns of the community. We request that another site be considered for the MediWaste incinerator, such as Tynes Bay Waste Incinerator Site or the King Edward Memorial Hospital. We request that the Minister Robin and Minister Wilson make it their highest priority to ensure that policy and legislation is put in place to govern the collection, transportation, and disposal of biohazardous and pharmaceutical waste. This is not a done deal. We will continue to strongly voice our objections. We are holding a third town hall meeting tomorrow on Thursday, December 1st at 6:30 at Clearwater Middle School. And we will be presenting our petition to the Premier on Friday at 12:30 p.m. at the House of Assembly at Vernita's Place on Court Street. We invite the entire community, environmental groups, organizations who support these events as the construction of MediWaste incinerator affects us all. We appeal to all Bermudians. If you care about the environment, if you care about your health and that of your children, then support our cause. The complete disregard for the health of our people and for the concerns of the community is not just a St. David's problem. It is a problem for the whole of Bermuda. Thank you. We have Mr. Albert Fox who would like to say a few words, and then we will take questions if you have them.
Yes, good morning. My concern, the new medical base, it was at King Edward site in 2013. They had a mercenator there. It was working quite well, and there was no complaints from the neighbors, but all of a sudden it was stopped. Why wouldn't they upgrade it and bring it up to par? And another question is, why didn't they release or put out an RFP, request for proposal for this contract? And by doing that, you avoided 5 sites to come down here, as mentioned by Talina. The hospital site, you could go up there right now and put it up there. Tynes Bay, there's a group that's doing an RFP to see if they can rectify the Tynes Bay incinerator. It would be a win-win for all. They could take the metal waste up and burn it. You have Works Engineering down the quarry down there. That's another site. Berman's, another site. And up Bellis Bay, another site. You come all the way to St. David's. Now, as you can see, Leon Fergo Clinic's right up there. Harbor Village is right here. Over in the back is the police station. They want to put it right down there. They got the fun zone. And out there, which we always a founded member of the YO Youth Athletic Organization. You have about 200 to 300 children and parents playing baseball. Over the back over here, St. George's Harbor. You got people bringing the multi-million-dollar yachts down there. And remembering that stacks can't go up too high because of the airport. You got also cup match down here, Connie Cup. You got people, as she mentioned, that do the triathlon, bicycle racing. People walk. People go down the beaches. The church groups go down the beaches. Why? Now, let me conclude with this. The contract is for $7.5 million roughly for 10 years. That means $750,000 per year. So from the time this contract was formed, 17 containers, as she mentioned, contain medical waste. $750,000. They collected the stuff, put it in the containers, kept it down there. Who's paying for all that? Who is paying for this containers moving out there now? Now, they got a contract for, I understand, it's going to be corrected, or I think it's, correct me, Lane, is this 15 years? No, 10-year contract. And down here, they got a lease, maybe you have to understand, for 20 years. So that means if they come under 20 years, $15 million. And you can see, as I mentioned to you just now, the concerns of us, and you also have an area up there with the Ferguson's Park, where the senior citizens stay, and other residential area. The rest of my case. Thank you.
I just want to share some comments. As the MP for this constituency, I do not take human life lightly.
Thank you.
I think it is very important that it is not business as usual. MediWaste is a private business that has responsibility to making sure that all the safety assurances of the particular constituents are met, as well as the Ministry of Health, as well as the Ministry of Human Affairs. Like Talina mentioned, there is no policy, there is no legislation that governs collection, transportation, and disposal of biohazardous waste. And that is something that we must continue to push for and ask for as a community. And so I just want the area residents to know that this does not sit well with me as an MP. And so I will be encouraged, as everyone else here today, and there are a lot of people who would like to have been here today and are not. And so we just want to be able to be here today to represent how constituents are feeling about this particular project.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Minister. Yes.
All right, and
Just a question here. Just for Minister Furbert, have you spoken to the other ministers that they had mentioned in the in the press statement, and what were their responses? Because obviously they didn't show up to the town hall meetings and also not here now. What is their general consensus? Can you speak to that?
I cannot speak to that. I have spoken to them. And I'm hoping that they will come to the table to attend the town hall meetings. If not, at least have a meeting with concerned citizens so that they can have their answers addressed.
from your discussions with the other ministers, Can you say if you are optimistic that this can be turned around?
I am optimistic. I am optimistic. I believe the Ministry of Home Affairs is working diligently. The constituents called for the containers to be removed. They were removed today. They still have questions to be answered, and we're looking forward to these answers to these questions.
There are two sitting government MPs standing with this group. May I ask, are you supporting the group's call for the construction to be stopped and for an independent third-party impact assessment to be made? Are you supporting that call here and now?
I am supportive of that call. I have recently been made of information that the Ministry of Home Affairs is seriously considering a environmental impact assessment. So I support that. I support it. I am supportive of the area constituents' concerns.
And as a representative for Constituency 3, and many constituents are here today in protest of what has transpired in the manner that it has transpired. I am here representing my constituency, and I am their voice. And I, like the minister, am concerned. And so we want the right processes and procedures to take place and give our members of the community the opportunity to weigh what comes out of the findings and to have their voice to say yay or nay going forward.
So yes, that you do support the call to stop.
Yes, I think this is
facility and to have an independent impact assessment.
This is beneficial not just for the St. David's community, but for all of Bermuda. And I think that anyone would want to see something done that's going to end up being beneficial for all.
So is it fair to say that the process that has taken place with Mediwaste being given the permission to construct, does it demonstrate some flaws, some holes in the system of Bermuda so far?
Yeah,
I'll just speak to the process of scrutiny.
Yeah.
It is important that constituents have the opportunity to make those who make decisions accountable. And there is a process of scrutiny. We want to be able to prevent negligence, right? And we want to make sure that there are proper safeguards in place. And so that is what we support, and that is what we encourage.
Now, critics of the campaign have said this is what they would describe as a NIMBY issue, where anywhere you put it, residents would be up in arms. How would you respond to that?
Hi. I get it. St. David's residents have been upset and angry about a lot of things. Because if people understand the history, and that's what we always go back to, we have a vested interest in this community. And so, yes, we have a concern. We want to be consulted. So it's not about just not in my backyard or not in St. David's, but when you look at the facts, which I think we all have diligently done, we have done a lot of work and are continuing to do a lot of work. If you look at the facts, is there a plan for the industrial site? Do they just plan to put things there? Is there a plan for the community overall? Yes, they have a community plan, but it did not include the Mediwaste facility in that plan. The CEO of BLDC does not view the community plan and the industrial site as one and the same. It is the same. It is St. David's altogether. So it is not just about St. David's, as we pointed out. It's an island concern. If it's going to impact your pocket, I'm sure that you will be concerned.
Now, what changes would you like to see to planning legislation to make sure that the community is better aware of things that are happening in their area?
You know, that's an interesting question, because this was first brought to attention, I guess, from a procedure process in 2020. What were we doing in 2020? We were all distracted with COVID. Who was paying attention to papers and notices at that time? No one. I mean, at least we weren't. And that's the thing. And then they have a website, which is great, But who's going to the website on a daily to check to see what's being built in their backyard? So what can be done in terms of consultation if you have something as weak as, when I say weak, because the acts and laws are dated, right, when it comes to the Clean Air Act. So when it comes to that, you're going to put things in place that could affect the overall health. Is there a disaster plan even? I have requested a disaster plan from MediWaste and have not received any information from them yet. A response to my email that was not included. But can we have some answers? That's all we're asking for, consultation.
If you would like to sign your petition, how do they do so?
Yes, so we do have petitions about, we've had hard copies. If you can reach out to us, we do have a Facebook page. There's an online petition and we have hard copies so as well, but not in specific locations which we could work on. But if you reach out to any of us directly, you should be able to get one.
So what is the Facebook page?
Concerned Citizens Bermuda.
Now, of course, one of the issues that has risen up is the storage of the containers.
Mhm.
Do you think, I mean, based on your research, based on your studies into this, do you think the hospital was aware that the incinerator was not built before they went and started collecting this medical waste? I mean, it had to go somewhere.
I'm trying to follow your question. Do we think that the hospital was aware that there was no? But yes,
And what are your thoughts on the fact
because
that they were
there's
allowed
no
to collect waste?
policies and procedures. They just gave it. I guess they have a contract and they gave it to them. This has happened before. They've stored containers of medical waste up at Wedco back in 2012, I think it was. You fact check that for me. But it happened where they stored medical waste on a previous occasion. So it's not like it hasn't happened before. But my concern is that they've stored it here for over
Well over a year.
well over a year, but unsecured for 10 months. And is there any financial fine that's going to be applied to them? Probably not, but it should be, and it should go to this community because they were unsecured. We don't know what's going to happen in the future in terms of what rodent or whatever could have been in there. I don't want to go down this path, but we don't know what the detrimental effects could be and what will need to happen after that.
Yeah, would you guys like to sign the petition?
Yes.
I do
Yeah, that's
have
no
one-
joke.
I do have one final question. From the perspective of letting the community know, is this a flaw? Should it be the private businesses that are letting the community know what's happening, or should it be a government process that ensures the community knows what's happening?
Okay. It's certainly something that if they're going to be responsible community partners, then the responsible thing to do would be to reach out to the community to let them know what's coming to town, so to speak. So yes, MediWaste had a responsibility and the regulators had a responsibility, because the only way that you could have something like this approved is from the regulators. So the regulators should have been out to the community to ensure that the community was aware of what may possibly be happening in their backyard. And the regulator being the Ministry of Home, the departments within the Ministry of Home Affairs. They are the ones who give approval for the building to be built and look at the designs to see whether or not what is being put together will result in emissions that prove detrimental to the environment.
From what you're saying, when you say it's mainly on the government department to communicate, but also some responsibility sits with the
Yes,
private business.
of course. If you want to be a good corporate citizen and a responsible corporate citizen, the right thing to do is to speak to the people where you hope to put your business. Yes.
May I add one more thing too, which reason I didn't think we touched on? The medical costs. The barrels were, I think, $45, as was bought at one of the meetings, right? To collect the waste. MediWaste is charged between $450 to $600. So that's going to impact when you go to a dentist, they're going to pass that bill on to you. Now, another thing, what happens if someone takes sick? And you got children with different types could get asthma or whatever, cancer or whatever. Who's paying for that? Are they liable for that? No, they can't give you no guarantee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.